And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Thank you for joining us today on the aviation portion of your broadcast. I'm meteorologist Emily Niebuhr. It's August 25th, 2023. First of all, we have an important outage to let you know about. The NOAA weather radio will be out from Friday 2 p.m. August 25th through 5 p.m. Monday, August 28th. This will be impacting Utqiagvik, Kotzebue, Nome, Bethel, St. Paul, Unalaska, Cold Bay, and Yakutat. Again, we're expecting a NOAA weather radio outage. You can get your forecasts and warnings and tsunami information available online at weather.gov or tsunami.gov. Again, it's weather.gov and tsunami.gov. What are the expected impacts from this outage? Some surface, hydrologic, and ship observations may not be available. The 12Z or 4 a.m. upper air observations, excluding Utqiagvik and Anchorage, will be unavailable. NOAA weather radio at 8 sites will be out of service. NOAA aviation weather unit graphics may be delayed or unavailable. Some Alaska weather TV graphics may be delayed or unavailable. Experimental Alaska aviation guidance will be unavailable. So again, this is going to be occurring this Friday. That is today at 2 p.m. August 25th through 5 p.m. Monday, August 28th. And again, you can always find us online at weather.gov or tsunami.gov. Let's take a look at our satellite today. Very active weather pattern in place. It's going to be impacting aviation across much of the state today. We have a system moving up through Anchorage. We have low pressure system. You can see that the next one pushing up towards the Bering. As a result, on Saturday with all these systems, especially in western portions of the state, expect widespread IFR conditions. And again, IFR conditions are instrument flight rules. That basically means lower visibility and lower ceilings for pilots flying. We also have widespread MVFR conditions across much of the mainland into Alaska Peninsula and up northward as well. So only the far eastern portion of the state has really good visibility for your Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, we do mix out some of the lower clouds and stratus, but we do have that system lingering along the Gulf of Alaska coast. And we do have a new system pushing in from the west. So again, most of the state will be at least in MVFR conditions and more challenging visibilities. Sunday morning, all along the west coast, we're expecting IFR conditions south of the Kenai Peninsula and into Prince William Sound. Low visibility is expected as well. Pretty good visibility in the Panhandle for your Sunday morning. But again, we have a widespread stratus expected in the western parts of the Bering. That stratus lingers in Sunday afternoon and mixes out a little bit. And again, we have some of that mixing out of the layers, so conditions do improve by Sunday afternoon. But again, mostly widespread MVFR conditions across the state, and be a little more cautious if you're flying from near Kodiak to Kenai into Prince William Sound. We're expecting IFR conditions right off the coast. Let's look at our pass conditions. Anaktuvuk Pass, we're expecting MVFR conditions Saturday. Attican Pass, MVFR conditions as well. Lake Clark, we're going to start out at IFR conditions and improve to MVFR conditions by the afternoon hours. For Rainy Pass, similar story. IFR in the morning, but we're going to see some mixing out by the afternoon hours and improving to MVFR conditions. For Windy Pass, we're going to start at IFR conditions and improve to MVFR by the afternoon. Isabel Pass, we're expecting MVFR conditions. Mentasta Pass, we're also expecting MVFR conditions. Talkeetna Pass, also MVFR conditions as well. Portage, again, widespread MVFR conditions for your Saturday. Chilkoot and White are going to be in VFR conditions with that nicer weather over in the Panhandle on Saturday. Take a look at your freezing levels. Again, we have some nice cold air entrenched across the north that was left behind by that Arctic low earlier this week. So we're looking at freezing levels at about 2,000 feet, 4,000 feet into the Bering. Meanwhile, with warm air with that ridge, we have that southerly flow across from the Pacific, bringing a lot of warm air. So across the Gulf of Alaska, 12,000 foot freezing levels. So we have a pretty decent gradient across the state. And the icing is going to be reflecting where we have those systems moving across on Saturday. So we are looking at considerable moderate just south of the Kuskokwim Delta and all along the north coast into inland areas from the Seward Peninsula all the way up to Ukhiavik. We also see some considerable moderate with that system out in the west, but generally isolated moderate icing across much of this state. I also should note there could be some considerable icing over the Anchorage Bowl area, so fly with caution a little bit on Saturday. Our jet stream is very strong at this point. We are seeing 100 and 110 knots at 30,000 feet. Again, that warm, moist air coming up from the Pacific, straight across the Kenai, across Kodiak Island, into Anchorage and out into the Alaska mountains. As we go to 9,000 feet, that jet is still very potent. We're looking at about 60 to 65 knots at 9,000 feet, clear from Kodiak Island across the Kenai into the Anchorage Bowl area and into the Alaska mountains. At 3,000 feet, we're still seeing that's very well intact. 45 knots across much of the eastern portion of Gulf of Alaska, across the Anchorage area and across Prince William Sound. We do see the low-level jet out to the western bearing. Finally, because of those winds, let's take a look at our turbulence. Again, we're expecting the turbulence to occur where those strong jets are happening. So across Anchorage, we're expecting considerable moderate and portions of northwest Alaska as well.